Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be the end of year book tag. So I've seen lots of people doing this tag video and I thought I would join in the fun and run through the questions with you. So this is basically, as the title suggests, a end of year tag to kind of wrap up things that you've read during the year, kind of go through ones that you've really loved, ones that you've not liked so much, and just kind of run through some questions. I think there's about 20 or so questions on here. So let me know if you've done this tag video, I'd love to check it out, and yeah, we'll just dive straight into the questions. So first question is most disappointing read, and my most disappointing read, I think this one was hard to answer because I don't tend to, if I'm not loving a book, I have got better at DNFing them. So there are some that I have DNF'd this year, but I didn't really want to count those because technically I haven't read them. But my most disappointing read was Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell. This one I thought I was going to really love. It has two things that I absolutely love, vampire books and sapphic romance. And sadly, this one just didn't work for me. I thought that I was going to really enjoy it, but as I say, I didn't like it. I think I ended up giving it 2 stars, and I couldn't really tell you much about what it's about because it was just so unenjoyable and so forgettable that I have no real memory of what the story included, but I remember really not liking it and being really disappointed. So that is my most disappointing read. Then we've got Underdog Book of the Year. So I do read a lot of popular books that people are talking about. I'm very easily influenced by what people are talking about. So you'll see that I've read quite a lot of popular books that are very hyped. But for me, one that I haven't really heard anyone talk about is Table for One by Emma Gannon. And I had a really good time with this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. I initially picked it up from the library purely based on the cover, and I ended up really enjoying it, and I would definitely recommend it if you are someone that is kind of going into their 30s and kind of wondering where their life is going to go. I think this one would really resonate with you, and yeah, I had a really great time with it and would definitely recommend it. I've not really heard anyone talking about it. Then we have Overhyped Book. So there are lots of books that are really hyped, and to be honest, for the most part I do agree with the hype, but there is one in particular that really stood out to me. I ended up DNFing this one, and it was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I don't think Casey McQuiston's writing is for me, sadly. I read Red, White and Royal Blue like many years ago when it was really popular, and even with that, I didn't really love it. I gave it 3 stars and just thought it was okay. One Last Stop, I'd heard nothing but good things about, and I tried to read it at the beginning of the year and I really couldn't get into it, so I ended up DNFing it. But I do still see lots of people talking about it and really hyping it up, but yeah, not for me, unfortunately. Then we have Book That Surprised You, and for this I have chosen All Together for Christmas by Sarah Morgan. And obviously, book that surprised you, that could be a surprise like good or bad, and this was a good surprise. I thought that I was going to like this book, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I gave this one 5 stars, which I don't give 5 stars a lot to many books, and particularly not for Christmas books, but this one I just really loved. I got really warm, cozy feelings reading this one. It's about this family, and we get 4 different perspectives of people within this family, and they're all kind of, obviously as the title suggests, coming together for Christmas, and it's just, I felt a very real book. These characters felt very real, and it felt like a realistic Christmas in terms of like the big family Christmas that people you know, have. And yeah, I had a really great time with it. Would definitely recommend if you are looking for a Christmas book to read. Then we have Best Couple, and I find this question really difficult to answer because obviously I read a ton of romance, so pretty much every book that I read has a couple, but my favourite couple, or this could change depending on when you ask me the question, but my favourite couple was Vuk and Ayana from King of Envy by Anna Huang. This one I absolutely loved. I gave 5 stars to, and I really liked their relationship developing here. It was definitely a slow burn romance, particularly compared to some of Anna Huang's other books. This was definitely much slower burn, and I really loved the tension between these 2 characters, and when they finally got together, the payoff was worth the wait. So yeah, would definitely recommend this book and this series, but yeah, these are my favourite couple, or that's my favourite couple at the moment. And then next question is favourite main character, and again this is quite difficult to narrow down, but for me I feel like I had to mention Vera Wong. So this is the first book in the Vera Wong series. I actually read the second book this year, but I don't own a physical copy of that one. But I have to mention Vera because she is so much fun. I love these books. They are just a breath of fresh air if you're looking for something fun and easy to read. These ones are great. Vera is a older character. I think she's like in her 60s, but she acts like so much older than that, and she is just so funny. And basically this is a cozy mystery series, and she is basically like the typical interfering old person sleuth character that you see, and she does it so well. She's really funny, and in the second book she really gets into social media, which is really interesting and funny to see. So yeah, would definitely recommend these books, and particularly the audiobooks, but I have to say that Vera is one of my favourite characters. Then we have new favourite author, and I've got a lot of new authors that I've tried this year, but I decided to pick one that I've read like multiple books from, because there are some authors that I've read their books from this year for the first time, giving them like a high rating, but I've only read like 1 or 2 books, so can you really call them a favourite author if you've only read a few books from them? But the one that I wanted to mention is Carissa Broadbent. I have read quite a lot of her books this year, and I have had a really good time with them. I have read up to, where are we up to? Book 4? No, 3. Book 3 in the Nightborn, not the Nightborn, Crowns of Nyaxia series, and I've read the first 2 books I think in her other trilogy, so she's definitely one of my most read authors this year, and I've had a really good time with her books. The Crowns of Nyaxia series is definitely my favourite. This is a vampire series, and it's quite a dark series, and I had a great time with it and would definitely recommend it. I do need to catch up on this series, but yeah, had a great time with her books, and I discovered her books at the beginning of this year. Then we have happiest book. Now I have quite a few that I could have picked for this. The Vera Wong book is a pretty happy book because it makes me laugh. But the one that I went for is Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn. I had such a good time reading this one recently. I only read it last month in November, but I had such a good time. It's such a fun read. It's a fake dating situation where these 2 characters have to pretend to be married, and they go to a marriage counselling like camp, and they're having to pretend to be married, but they're having to pretend that their marriage is in trouble, so their fake marriage is in trouble. And it was such a good read, so much fun. Megan Quinn writes really fun books, so you could really pick any for her, and they're pretty much all of the ones that I've read have all been fun reads. I'm currently reading the Christmas one at the moment, Christmas one from last year, and again I'm having a really fun time with that one too. So yeah, definitely the happiest book that I read. Then we have saddest book. Now I don't read a ton of sad books. There'll be moments in some books that I find sad, but as a whole I don't tend to read sad books. But the one that springs to mind is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. This one is a fiction book rather than a romance, and it follows well, there's 4 sisters, but one of them has passed away, and we're following the 3 other sisters and following them on their grief journey, and how the death of one sister kind of affected their relationship, and obviously all these other things. So it really is a study on kind of the bonds between sisters, and obviously grief as well. And yeah, it was really an emotional read. I think if you have a sister, you'll really resonate with this book, because they talk about the fact that you know, you are really close, but at times you'll be really annoyed or frustrated with the other, and like how that relationship works. Yeah, so really recommend that one. It is quite an emotional read, but yeah, I had a good time with it. Then we have most frustrating book, and I picked Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This one was a recent read for me, and it was frustrating because I didn't enjoy this one, and the premise sounded like something that I would really enjoy, and so many people have been talking about it. It's got really good reviews on Goodreads. But this one is about a character who is accused of murdering her best friend, but she conveniently has no memories of the murder or the night that it happened. So the police haven't been able to convict her because there's not enough evidence, but everyone like suspects that she did it. And we're now like, I think it's 5 or 10 years later, and we have this character who is hosting a podcast, and he hosts like true crime podcasts, focusing on unsolved crimes. And obviously he's looking into this crime, so we get to see interviews with people relevant to the case, and obviously we have our female main character. And this one was so frustrating because premise wise this sounds like something I would enjoy, but execution, I just really wasn't interested in this story. I think I ended up giving this 2 stars, and the only reason I finished reading this is because someone from work had lent me the book, so I felt like I had to read it because I didn't want to give it back and say I hadn't read it. But yeah, really didn't like this one. And when I saw the reviews on Goodreads, because it's got quite a high average rating, I was thinking, did we read the same book? Because I really didn't get on with this. I've read other books that feature podcasts, and I feel like there's other ones out there that have done it so much better. Then we have Best Adaptation. Now, I'll be honest, I don't watch a ton of films or TV, so I haven't really watched too many adaptations, but the 2 TV adaptations I watched that I have really enjoyed is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I really enjoyed this TV show. The ending was a little bit weak. I didn't love the ending, and I was really surprised because I didn't realise that the 3rd season was going to be the last series. So when it ended, I was like, and I went to find out when the next series was coming out. I was like, what do you mean there's not going to be a next series? So overall, I liked it. I definitely liked it more than the books. I read the books like many years ago, like I think in maybe 2015 or 2014, like years and years ago. But I remember not loving the books. I think I liked the first one, and then after that I wasn't super impressed. But I had a good time with the TV show. And then the other TV show that I've watched was My Life with the Walter Boys. I really enjoyed that one. I also read the book this year, and I feel like the TV show follows the book fairly well. Obviously there are things that have been changed, and I do expect that with an adaptation. But yeah, a really good time with those 2 shows. They are the sort of shows that I like to watch, like light, easygoing shows. So yeah, would definitely recommend those. Then we have favourite covers. Now I actually have 4 answers for this, and I could do like a whole video on what are my favourite covers from the year, because there have been so many pretty ones. But I picked out 4 that I really love, and I tried to pick like a range of different things. You'll have seen all of these in my book hauls, but I wanted to mention these. So we have Holly by Adeline Grace. This one, I just love the cover for this. It's so pretty and really in keeping with the rest of the series. But this one also has like really nice foiling on it as well on the inside, and it's just such a pretty book. And I have just recently finished reading this one, and I really loved it as well. So it was a 5-star read. So really glad that I have a copy of this because it is so pretty. Then we have the 20th edition of Twilight. I think this is just such a pretty edition and really nice for my shelves. That's like the case for it, and then it's got this beautiful edition, and the end pages, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it. It's really difficult to show on camera, but if you hold them one way you can see Bella, and if you hold them the other way you can see Edward. And it's just such a really nice collector's edition. They are also doing a New Moon, which I am not going to be purchasing that. I'm just going to stick with the Twilight edition and just have that as like a collector's, oh I've just put that in the wrong way, and just have that as a like collector's piece for my shelf. But I'm not going to collect the whole series. I am trying to be a little bit better with my book purchases. Then we have Breathe With Me by Becca Mack. This whole series has really pretty covers. I really like this watercolor like effect design that they have, and this was her newest release for 2025. But yeah, it's so stunning. I think they're really pretty and they look really nice on the shelf. And then the other one, oh, nearly dropped it, is the Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. I could have also included the Strawberry Patch Pancake House because that also is pretty, but I just love the designs of this series. I think they're really pretty and really cute and cozy, so definitely love that series as a whole in terms of the covers. Then we have Book You Can't Stop Thinking About, and for this I've picked The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And the reason I can't stop thinking about this one is because I have not really read too many like cozy fantasies, but I've read a few more this year, and this one I just really enjoyed. It was so light and cozy and I just had such a good time reading it, and it's really kind of opened my eyes to the genre. The Teller of Small Fortunes also did the same, which is kind of in the same vein, and you will definitely be seeing at some point next year a like cozy reading vlog where I read some more cozy fantasy. So if you have any recommendations of books similar to The Spell Shop and the Teller of Small Fortunes, definitely let me know because I'm interested to check out more that kind of like in a similar vein to that. But it's really fun, cozy, light read, particularly for wintertime. Love that. Then we have Longest Book That You've Read, and I've read quite a few longer books this year because I've been reading more fantasy, but surprisingly the one that I have for this answer isn't actually a fantasy, it is a contemporary, and that is Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh. This one I really enjoyed. I've been reading this series and I've been having a really good time. I'm up to Saving Seven is the next one that I've got to read, and I would definitely recommend the audiobooks for this series. I've had such a good time with them. These are again slightly more emotional reads. Again, this could have fit for Saddest Book. The characters in here definitely have some struggles that they are working through, but yeah, even though this is such a long book, this is, how long is this? 927 pages. Even though it is that long, listening to the audiobook, it didn't feel like a long book at all, and I just wanted to keep reading and reading it. I know a lot of people are probably going to have Alchemized for this answer, but I haven't read that yet because it's so long. Then Shortest Book, I read a ton of novellas, so it's unsurprising that I have a novella on here, but the shortest one that I read is actually Brunetti by T.L. Swan, and this is part of her Christmas collection that she does each year. So she has a Christmas collection called His Christmas List, and each year she only releases it for a certain period of time, from like the middle of December I think to the middle of January. It's available on Kindle Unlimited. And each year she adds a short story to the collection, and Brunetti is one from last year, and I really enjoyed it, and it's like a teaser for a book that she has yet to release, and I don't know if she is going to release it because there's no like announcements about it or anything. I think it's kind of been put on the back burner, but I really enjoyed it and I definitely want to have that book, that finished book, so hopefully she will provide that at some point. I did read this novella last year, but I reread it again this year because for some reason I couldn't find my ratings for the last year's novella, so I reread last year's and this year's novella. Then we have Cringiest Book, and I don't like to say that any book is cringy, but one that fits this bill because I didn't enjoy it was Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. This one, I just remember reading it and having like a really bad time reading it. I didn't like this one at all. I've kept it because I really like the sprayed edge and I have the other books in this series, but this one I just didn't get on with. It's about Sig and Chloe, and they find out that they are going to be step siblings, and it is their relationship, and it wasn't the step sibling thing that bothered me. I just didn't like the way these characters interacted. I didn't like the banter, the humour in here. Tessa Bailey uses a lot of humour. She's a bit like Megan Quinn in that respect, and sometimes that works for me and sometimes it's just too over the top and not something I enjoy, and sadly in this one it didn't work for me. But one of her other ones in this series, the Fangirl Down, I did really like. So as I say, very hit or miss in terms of what I like from her, but this one was a no from me. Then we have unpopular book that you love, and as I say, I read a lot of popular books, so it's difficult to find one that I think is unpopular, but one that I've seen quite a few people not love is The Favourites by Lane Fargo. This one I really enjoyed. It's about two ice skaters and is told in a similar sort of vein to Daisy Jones and the Six, in terms of we get like little interviews popped in throughout as we kind of follow their story, and they, as I say, they were ice skaters, and we follow their journey from kind of like childhood through to adulthood. And I really enjoyed this one. As I say, I've heard a lot of people dislike it, but I had a good time with it. I gave it a 4.5 because I found the ending to be a little bit disappointing. I was expecting something a bit more from the ending, the way the story was building up. But overall, I really enjoyed this one, and definitely would recommend it. Then we have Book You Thought You'd Love, and for this I've picked one that I actually DNF'd, and that was called Let's Give 'Em Pumpkin to Talk About by Isabel Pop. This one I was going to read for kind of like autumn books. I thought I was going to really love it. It's an Afterglow book, and I regretted cancelling my Afterglow subscription, so I really want to read that because it looks like it's going to be something I love. But I just didn't like this one. I didn't like the writing. I read maybe like 50 or so pages. I couldn't get into it, and so I ended up DNFing it, which is why I've not really talked about it on my channel. But yeah, really disappointed that I didn't like that one, and I thought I would, based on like some of the other books that I'd read. Then we have Most Unique Concept, and for this I've chosen One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This one I haven't really read anything else like this. The magic system in here I feel is quite unique, in terms of they use tarot cards to kind of draw their magic, and our female main character has this kind of like voice inside her head. She got like this illness, which if people get this illness, they're supposed to report it to like the authorities and hand themselves in, but her family kind of hid it, and she's got some like unique abilities that this illness left her with, and one of them is this voice in her head. And as I say, they use these tarot cards to kind of produce magic, but using the tarot cards has consequences, and I found this really interesting, and Rachel Gillig is definitely an author that I need to read more from. I've got The Night of the Moth still to read, but she is one that I definitely want to keep an eye on. Then we have highest and lowest rated books on Goodreads as the last question. So the highest rated book that I have read on Goodreads this year is Redeeming Six, which has a 4.64 rating on Goodreads, and I really enjoyed this one, so I do definitely agree with that. Another one I think that had the same rating as this was A Court of Mist and Fury, also had a 4.64, and that was obviously a reread for me, so I didn't want to mention this one. I thought I'd mention this one, but yeah, I'm really glad that I picked this series up, as I've already mentioned. And then the lowest rated book on Goodreads that I read this year is called I Kissed a Werewolf and I Liked It by Kat Hepburn, I think is her name, and this one has an average rating of 2.54, and I also gave it 2 stars. I definitely agree. It was a real mess, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have a good time with it. The reason I read it is, the reason I carried on reading it is because it was so short. So I just kind of thought, oh, I'll just get through it. I thought it might pick up, but yeah, it was a bit all over the place. There was a lot of things going on. I think the author was trying to do too much, and unfortunately it didn't work, so didn't like that one, and would agree with the kind of general consensus on that one. So they are my answers for the end of year book tag. As I say, if you have done this tag, let me know because I'd love to check it out, and I will see you in my next video.